Welcome to the Travel Transformation Podcast, where we talk all things travel and all things transformation, exploring the life-changing potential of solo travel, intentional travel, and location-independent working. Whether you're an aspiring digital nomad or simply wish to boost your confidence through epic travel experiences, I'm here to motivate and inspire you to go after all your wildest dreams. I'm Jessica Grace Coleman, author, certified travel coach, founder of the Travel Transformation Company, and your host for the Travel Transformation Podcast. Travel changed my life. Now let's change yours. You ready? Let's go. Welcome to the Travel Transformation Podcast, the podcast where we talk all things travel and all things transformation. I'm your host, Jess, and I'm still talking about my USA autumn adventure trip because it was 5 weeks long, and I split it up into like a few days here and a few days there. So this time I'm talking about my time in Mystic, Connecticut, and other Connecticut towns. And I believe I left off last week talking about my trip to Boston and Salem with my friend Ruth. And we'd just gotten to sleep, I think, on our last day there, which was our day in Salem. So I've got some notes because I would not remember all of this. It was a few weeks ago now. And I'm still sitting on my beanbag chair, which I don't know if you can hear. Oh, it's not a beanbag chair. It's like a thing for your back. So when you can do stuff sitting up in bed, which is where I'm recording this from. So anyway, so Monday the 28th of October. So getting on for Halloween now. We got up, we packed, we left the Airbnb. And even though it was just another sort of 6-minute walk to the car rental place, we got an Uber because of all our stuff. And it was just so much easier. We got given a Mercedes-Benz C-Class sedan 2024, which sounds kind of posh, but it looked like someone had thrown up all over the back. It was clean inside, but I don't know what had happened on the outside or why they hadn't cleaned it. Maybe they cleaned it and then someone had come along and thrown up afterwards. Who knows? I don't think it was actually sick. Hopefully it wasn't. It just looked like it. But we were like, that's sort of classy, but really not. Also, it was a bit high-tech for us. It kept doing all this stuff. It kept moving our chairs without asking us, like our seats. And every time we started the car and had our seatbelts on, it would tighten the seatbelt. Even though we already had them on, it would tighten it and sort of strangle us back onto the seat. Which, after the whole Boston Strangler thing that I talked about last week, during our ghost tour, true crime tour, it was a bit like, oh. So we didn't like that. Anyway, I drove us to Providence, Rhode Island was our first stop because we knew for a fact there was a cheesecake factory there. We had been to the one before, and I was obsessed with the cheesecake factory when I lived in Colorado. So they have a huge menu, so you can get like whatever you want. Burgers, salads, pizzas, pasta, anything. And obviously they do a huge range of amazing cheesecakes, which you never have room for after the meal because the meals are always so huge. So we always end up getting them to go. But the thing I really love is the bread. The free bread they give you at the start. There's this like brown, I don't know what kind of bread it is. I don't know if it's rye. No, I don't know. But it's just amazing. And it hasn't changed since I lived in Colorado. So every time I go back to the States, I make sure I go to the Cheesecake Factory at least once for the bread and to get a cheesecake to go. And I got the Reese's peanut butter cheesecake, and it was amazing. It took me like 3 days to eat it. It was like that rich and big, but it was really good. So I went to the Cheesecake Factory, accidentally paid $20 parking for the privilege in this multi-story. We didn't realise how much it would cost for like an hour and a half, but never mind. Then we drove to Target because Ruth needed to get some toiletries and stuff, which is exactly what I did when I first got there. I went to Target and stocked up on toiletries and trainers, because I didn't bring trainers with me, just big boots and slip-on shoes. Ruth had only brought big boots with her, so she also bought some trainers. Exactly the same ones I got from Target in Tennessee several weeks before, which actually felt like months before. So we did that. Then we went to the Shop and Stop grocery store near Mystic or Groton, I'm still not sure how you say it, stocked up on food supplies. Then we finally drove to Mystic. Now, I originally was meant to go to Mystic on my trip with my friend Ruth and our friend Vicky 7 years ago. We never quite got around to it. And we thought it sounded, mystical for Halloween, and we didn't really know where else to go. We'd already been to Salem, which is where we went for Halloween last time. And you can't really top Salem, so there's not really any point trying to top which Disneyland. So we went to Mystic because I found these ghost tours that were carried out in Mystic, and I was like, that'll be a cool thing to do on Halloween. So we got there. A very cute Airbnb, kind of a weird layout though, because you go in, there's a living room, there's a bedroom, there's a kitchen, there's a bathroom, there's a dining room, all very, very cute. You go upstairs, there's 2 more bedrooms, very cute. You go into the basement, you walk through the basement, and we got there at night, so we were like, creepy basement, is the Boston Strangler there? Boston Strangler just, followed us around in our heads the whole time. And then you find this other door, and you go through the mystery door, and there's a whole other apartment down there. So there's another bedroom, another kitchen, another bathroom, and another living room. So if you've got like a big party of people, this place is perfect. But as it was just us, we were like, we'll just pretend this downstairs bit doesn't exist. We raided the bathroom for like toilet roll and towels and things like that. And then we sort of closed the door and we were like, we'll pretend that doesn't exist because you have to go down through the basement to get to it. We have everything we need upstairs. So very cool place, very, very cute. But we were a bit confused when we got there about the layout until we figured out the extra door was in the basement. So we got there and we sorted ourselves out. We ate in the Airbnb. We tried to eat in as much as we could to save money. And we watched Mystic Pizza, which I had seen before, but I wanted to see again while we're actually in Mystic. So we could actually, recognise the filming locations and stuff like that. So it's starring Julia Roberts and lots of other people. And it's set in a restaurant called Mystic Pizza, which is set in the town of Mystic. And there is a Mystic Pizza restaurant still there, so we went to there, but not that day. So the next morning, we had a lazy morning. We walked around Mystic, we looked in some of the shops, lots of really cute shops, really good for shopping. Souvenirs, all that kind of stuff. Galleries, clothes, lots of stuff. We walked along the river for a bit. We saw the drawbridge from the film, Mystic Pizza. Very cool drawbridge. Then we had lunch at Mystic Pizza. Very nice. But it was huge, so we had to take half of it away with us. But it's a very cool story. It was like a family-run place. It was very small. This filmmaker came, had pizza there, decided to base a film there, to write Mystic Pizza into the film and have it, it is the film. Mystic, the town, is very much a character in its own. Mystic Pizza is, a huge part of it. And then when the film came out, it became very, very popular. So popular they had to expand twice. They had to get a huge dining room and then make that bigger. And then I think they've got another branch of Mystic Pizza, I think in North Stonington, so very nearby. And obviously now it has film memorabilia all over the walls, so you can get merchandise there. They have a TV upstairs and downstairs where the film is on, I assume, all the time. Not the sound though, because I think the people who work there would get a bit annoyed after a while. But yeah, if you're ever in the area, definitely go. Very, very good pizza. So after that, we went and walked around for a bit. And I don't know if you can hear the fireworks in the distance, by the way. I'm recording this on the 9th of November on a Saturday, so there's more fireworks. But anyway, we went and got dessert from the Mystic River Chocolate Cafe. So they do like hot chocolate, like I think I got the 70% dark chocolate, hot chocolate, and it had like spices in and things, and I got the mild version, and that was quite spicy, so I can only imagine what the full-on version would be like, but it was delicious. We got that and we walked around for a bit. Then we went to Old Mystic Village shopping area, which was a few minutes drive away, which was very cute, and a little bit weird. Like, it looked like a film set. All these shops are in their own little houses. There were cute cafes and bookstores. There was like a creepy horror bookstore with like Edgar Allan Poe, and there's a Alice in Wonderland cafe with like Alice's feet sticking out the ceiling and all kinds of crazy things. We enjoyed wandering around. There was a huge Christmas decoration shop that's open all year round. That was very cool. After that, we drove a few more minutes to B.F. Clyde's cider mill, and I do love a good cider mill. We had some hot apple cider with caramel. Ruth had had a cider donut. I'd had about 10 million cider donuts by this point, so I refrained. But I did buy some pumpkin cider wine. Cider wine, yes. So it was made with apples, not grapes. It was very nice. Then we sat out on the sort of deck porch of this cider mill, basically in this big clapboard house with a huge wraparound porch. Very nice. Sat out there, had our drinks, and then I bought the wine and we went back, drove back to the house. We had leftover pizza for dinner. I'm still kind of on American time. I'm still kind of jet lagged, even though I've been back a couple of days. We watched Hocus Pocus after our Hocus Pocus related Salem trip. We thought we'd watch it again. Why not? Then we walked to downtown Mystic, which was about 10 minutes walk from our Airbnb. The Airbnb location is really good, actually. It was like a minute walk from Mystic Pizza, but it was also in its own little like neighborhood, like its own little residential street as well. So it's a really good location. And we went on our ghost tour. So this was our second ghost tour of this trip, and I think my 5th or 6th. I did the Stowe Lantern tour, which was a bit ghosty, and then another walking tour, which was a bit ghosty. But anyway, we went on the ghost tour. There was a lot of people there. I guess it was nearly Halloween. And it was downtown ghost tour, and telling us all about the ghosties, history of Mystic. There was a Mystic pig man, of course, in the river. Didn't see him. But yeah, she was a really good tour guide. Learned a lot, had some fun. There were kids on the tour as well, so it wasn't too scary. Though I think if I was about 6 hearing about this horrific pig man, it might have given me a couple of nightmares. I don't know. Then we went back, chilled, and went to bed. So the next day, it was our drive to other cute towns in Connecticut day. But we left a little, like, not super early, so I got rid of one off our itinerary, which we'd been to before Milford, which was very cute, but I thought we'll just cut it down a bit. So we went to Guilford first, which is also one of my favourite places from last time, and one of Ruth's favourite places as well. This very cute green, like it's quad, which always has like, well, when we've been, because it's been around Halloween, it's got like scarecrows everywhere from like community members who've made them. Lots of Taylor Swift related scarecrows this year. There's one, there's like a big white, typically New England church at the end of the green, and the green is surrounded by cute shops, boutiques, cafes, grocery stores, all the good stuff. So we did some shopping. We looked at the green, and I asked Ruth to help me film some stuff for my documentary. So we did that. Then we drove to Chaffinch Island. It's where we went last time after a recommendation from a local. And I put loads of pictures on Facebook about this trip last time. And I think I've put about 5 times the amount of pictures on this time, but it was a lot longer trip. And I remember going to this place, and I remember it being not too far from Guilford, from the green. So in the car, I went quickly on Facebook. I looked back at my pictures, my album from that trip. Yes, I still use Facebook and upload pictures there. I am old. And I had happened to caption some of them, and I'd captioned Chaffinch Island for this one. So I was like, yes, thank you, pass me. So I put that in the GPS. We drove there, lovely sunny day. It looks out to Long Island Sound. Oh, the fireworks are going quite a lot now. It's like a little beachy area, lots of rocks, little picnic benches, very, very cute. Did a bit more filming, took some pictures. Then we got back in the car and drove to Old Saybrook. This is just like basically lists of places I got online to check out. Old Saybrook, not as cute, not as walkable as, say, Guilford or Mystic. It did have some nice shops, but it was getting on a bit then. So we got there, we got some lunch at the Monkey Farm Cafe. We walked around a bit. There were some people with Trump flags on the corner that said honk for Trump, and we were sort of eating nearby, and it was just constant honking. We were just like, shut up. So we were there a few days. This was a few days before the election. Now we know how the election turned out, and I'm not surprised so many people were honking, but it was very annoying. I was like, do you not have anything more important to do? They were there for like hours on this corner. Anyway, we walked around a bit, and we drove to the marina, looked out at the water. We were like, yep, that's the water. Then we got back in the car. We drove to Essex. It was getting quite dark now, though. We didn't really look for like a place to park with all the shops and everything. We saw the steam train, but it was sadly closed for the season, so we couldn't go on it. Are you ready for adventure? Are you ready to become location independent? Are you ready to create your ultimate dream lifestyle? Then I have just the thing for you. The Flip the Script Academy with me, Jessica Grace Coleman. My online academy, which is bursting with life-changing courses and resources, is for anyone who feels stuck in life, wants to make a change, would like more meaning and purpose in their life, wants to shake things up, especially after the pandemic, Wants to start or grow a business or side hustle they can run from the road? Wants to incorporate travel into their lives in all kinds of different ways? Or is simply ready for an epic transformation? For more info, just head to traveltransformationcoach.com/academy. And now, back to the Travel Transformation Podcast. Then we drove back and had dinner at the Airbnb. I tried the washing machine. This is where the washing machine debacle started. It didn't work. Had to contact the Airbnb lady, and she was very, very apologetic and called the plumber in and was like, I don't know if it's the plumber problem or if it's just me being an idiot. She was like, that's fine, let's just sort it out anyway. So the next day was Halloween, and it started off very scary, but for different reasons. So we had the plumbing issue to deal with and the car issue to deal with, because the day before the check engine light had come on our lovely Mercedes-Benz that had been thrown up over, and we were like Googling it, asking ChatGPT, couldn't find out exactly why it had come on. So while we waited around for the plumber in the morning, while he was sorting out the washing machine, we were trying to contact the car rental place, Hertz. The local branch that we picked it up from in Boston were not answering. The customer service line wasn't answering. Any other number we found online was just ringing out, or like they're going beep, 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 or not in service. The web page on the website to get support from the email that we clicked through from the email was under construction, was down for maintenance. And it was like half an hour, just like trying to contact someone who could help us. We just wanted a record of us telling them basically that the engine light was on in case anything happened to the car, and then they were like, well, you didn't do anything about it. But ideally, we would want a new car. So then Ruth suggested finding a local Hertz dealership local to us, and we found one that was like 10 minutes drive away. And it turned out that it was just like a little hut in a car park. But they were so helpful. They said, yep, come in, we'll switch over the car, no problem. And we were like, yes. And then the plumber fixed the washing machine, and we were like, everything's coming together. So we drove over to the place. We deposited our car. We had to explain that we hadn't been sick on it. And it was like that when we got it. The woman didn't really seem to care. And we changed into a Ford Edge, I believe it was. So a nice big SUV, not quite as big as my 4Runner I had in Tennessee, which was huge. But this one did not look like it had been sick over. And it did not try to strangle us every time we started the car. So bonus. I've decided I don't think I'm a Mercedes person. I much prefer a big SUV, and everywhere in New England we went, I'd say about 1 in 3 people had a Jeep Wrangler, a nice shiny Jeep, black, blue, yellow, red. We saw them all the time, and by the end of the trip we both wanted a nice big shiny Jeep. I'd love a red shiny Jeep, so if, Jeep are listening, they want to give me a Jeep, please do. I'm sure that will happen. Anyway, so after changing our car, we headed to Lyman Orchards. It was a orchard and farm, and we had heard they had a corn maze. So we went to the farm shop first, which was huge. We got some lunch, which we ate outside. Very cute. It was a cute dog in a pram. Amazing. I had some donuts. And then I bought more tea. Yeah, more tea. Then we went to the corn maze, which was Snoopy-themed. So they have a different theme every year. And it was very hot and very sunny, and we got lost a lot. Now, they'd given us a map, and it was really cool, bird's eye view of the maze, and it was like, it spelt out the orchard name, and it had like Snoopy and like Pumpkin and Charlie Brown, or I think, sort of etched into the design. So very, very cool. But we were determined not to look at the map. You did have clues, so there were certain posts, and you could look at a piece of paper they gave you, and it had like questions about certain topics. We chose the superhero one because the movie one was, and we knew some of them, but some of them we guessed, and we went round and round in circles for a long time, and we kept coming across the same people, so we knew they were as well. So it wasn't just us. I'm not sure how long it took us, maybe an hour and a half. We finally found the exit. We got I survived the maze stickers, and then we headed back to the Airbnb to sort stuff out and have dinner before heading out to the cemetery for our ghost tour. So this was on Halloween day, as I said. And we'd booked another ghost tour for Halloween night in a cemetery. And at this point in my notes, I have written down that while driving through Connecticut on the interstate, you would sometimes come across a sign, or we came across it a few times, but I think because we were going up and down the same road. But it said, "Do not stop, correctional facility area." We were like, oh my God, does this mean that convicts escape all the time and try and like get in your car? Like, what's going on? And I googled it and a Reddit thread came up, and someone was saying, I just keep seeing these signs in Connecticut. And then someone else just put, Connecticut, are you okay? And yeah, apparently it's because some of the prisoners, they have like litter picking duties and things on the side of the road, and you're not meant to stop in case they do try and get in your car. So there we go. We didn't see any litter pickers or anything, but we did keep seeing the signs, and we were like, ooh, okay. So the graveyard tour was like the old burial ground, very cool. It was Halloween, so we did this thing where she brought roses and we each had a rose. And as we went around the graveyard, we had to lay our rose down on one of the headstones of the people we were talking about to show them some respect. So I thought that was a nice touch. And it was the same tour guide we had the other night, downtown Mystic tour. And I forgot to say, she handed out like EMF readers and dowsing rods and things like that, so you can do your own investigations. So there was lots of people going around the cemetery asking questions, doing investigations. We were looking at our Fitbits because she said that sometimes your heart rate goes like crazy, all that kind of thing. And our heart rates did go a little crazy, but I think maybe it's because we were talking about it and expecting it to happen. It was Halloween as well, so she had candy to give out, always good. Lots of interesting stories again. We went inside a crypt at the end, as you do. Sat in there for a bit. Someone had the EMF reader and we were asking questions. And actually, I was given the EMF reader at the start, and I was holding it and it was doing nothing. It was nowhere near my phone or anything. And at this point, anyway, I did do some tests with it going near the phone afterwards, and it was like, yep, this is obviously having an effect. But at this point, it was not doing anything. And then the tour guide said, so, we ready to hear some stories? And the EMF just went crazy, as if someone was like, yes. So the idea is, it's, if you've not used one before, it's like, I don't know, 4 or 5 little lights, and it starts, I don't know, green or yellow, I can't remember, and it goes up to orange and red. And it's meant to be, you ask someone, a spirit, yes or no questions. And if it's yes, it's meant to go crazy. And if it's no, then it doesn't affect it. I think. I'm not an expert in this. So when she said, are you ready for some stories? And it went crazy, I was like, that's kind of cool. And then in the crypt, the person was asking questions, and he was like, is there anyone there? And it went crazy. And then, we didn't say anything for a bit, and it stopped. And then they were like, are you friendly ghosts? And it went crazy again. And we were like, okay, this is a little weird. And after a bit of doing that, the guy holding the EMF was like, I think I want to get out of the crypt now. And we were like, yeah, let's get out of the crypt. And we all left. But yeah, very interesting. And the woman doing the ghost tours, she starts the ghost tours telling us how she had an experience with a Ouija board when she was like a teenager, and how she's been into ghosty stuff ever since and totally believes in it all. And she had pictures on her phone of some of the ghosts she was talking about from the previous tours. And there was one on the downtown one, she was talking about these 2 mischievous boys in this building that used to be several things that's now a bar. And she showed us a picture of like the door, and there were like 2 little heads poking above the door in the darkness, and they did look like little boys. And she swears that no one was actually in the building at the time, all that kind of stuff. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. And then at the end of the graveyard tour, she was also showing some pictures around, and she was talking about this one guy, and she said like whenever she takes pictures and there's like a weird figure, they obviously checked to make sure there was no one on the tour who looked like that, just checking it wasn't an actual person. And there was one where this guy was like peering around from behind someone else, and he had like glowing eyes, and he looked like he was solid but not quite solid. There's something a bit different from him than the other people in the picture. And I was like, that is creepy. And there was also one about this mischievous boy who she'd told us a lot about, him and his mom. And there was a picture of like a sort of not see-through, like kind of see-through ghostly figure of like a boy hopping around having fun behind all these other people. And that also looked very convincing. I'm open to ghosts, I'm just saying. And I like the fact that she had these pictures and she was showing them around, and she obviously believes in this stuff. And yeah, either the pictures were very well done or they were legit, I don't know. But anyway, very fun thing to do anyway, especially on Halloween night. Traipse around a graveyard, hearing stories and playing with EMF things. So that was cool. So we went back to the Airbnb. It was our last night, so we packed a bit, we watched a film, we watched lots of like Hallmarky films while we were over there, getting on for Christmas. Something just mindless, yeah, kind of mindless. just something fun to watch, especially after all the ghost tours, all the true crime stories, Boston Strangler. You just want something a bit light and fluffy. So that's what we did. And then we went to bed, and that was our time in Connecticut. So next, let me just look at my pictures to see if I've missed anything out. That was my notes. So yeah, well, I think my favourite bit of that was going back to Guilford. Very, very cute. And the corn maze was very fun. And the ghost tours were awesome. I took pictures. Oh, I actually took a picture that I found a little spooky of the ghost tour. And I tried to show it to Ruth, but she didn't want to see it because it was that night and it was dark and we didn't really want to get into is this a ghost or not? But I took a picture of the EMF reader when I first got it. And then I took a couple of pictures, but the second one I was still holding the rose that she gave us. And so the rose kind of got in the picture a little bit. So the green stem made it all go green and creepy. So that's why it's green and creepy. But in the background of this greenness, sort of like a smudgy, greeny halo over the picture, there is what I think is a creepy face. And you can see the eyes, the nose, the mouth, the head shape. And I'm looking at it now and it's kind of creeping me out a bit because I'm sort of sitting in the semi-darkness now at night recording this. And yeah, I did send it to a few people. I was like, am I going mad or can you see a face? And they were like, yeah, I can kind of see a face. So maybe I should send it to the woman, actually. She did say send through any pictures that are creepy that we took on the ghost tour, so I'll send her that. But yeah, not as cool, not as clear as the pictures she had. But anyway, very cool. So that was our time in Connecticut. I'm going to stop rambling there. But next time, I will talk all about our time in Cape Cod, back in Rhode Island as well on the way, and Martha's Vineyard as well. So I'll talk about that next time, the last part of our trip. Thank you for listening, and until next time, I'll catch you on the flip side. Thank you for listening to the Travel Transformation Podcast with me, Jessica Grace Coleman. If you enjoyed this episode, I would really appreciate it if you could please subscribe, rate and review, and spread the word, because it's my mission to help as many people as possible to flip the script on their lives and transform through travel. And remember, life is short, so let's make sure it's nothing short of amazing. Until next time, I'll catch you on the flip side.